All right. We're back over here, still doing the marathon. Chase Younts, Krissy Birdsall. We're talking about, I don't know how much bigger of a revenge game it gets than Matt Stafford coming back to Detroit. Los Angeles Rams, Detroit Lions, Sunday Night Football in the playoffs, 8 o'clock on NBC. Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, Melissa Stark, all on the call for NBC. First thoughts in this one, because this is gonna get crazy.
As I just told you a few minutes before off camera, the NFL scriptwriters did a really great job on this one. I mean, couldn't draft a better storyline than what you have coming here. Matthew Stafford, the trade a few years ago between him and Jared Goff, and now they're playing each other in the playoffs. I mean, can't ask for more in a Sunday night game. So definitely getting the viewers what they want with this one. And it's going to actually be a really good game. Both of these teams played up to their expectations this year. I think a lot of people might have written off the Rams early on, but they're a very good team. I mean, they haven't really fallen off since their run a few years ago. And then you look at Detroit, who had a really good season last season. They were kind of building on that momentum this year, taking advantage of a soft division, and were able to get into the playoffs and get a decent 3 seed. And this is going to be a great matchup. So I'm excited for it.
Most definitely. I mean, talk about a Freaky Friday scenario. They just swap places and here they are playing on Sunday night. But, there's been stuff going around of, okay, who's won the trade and all this stuff when it comes to the quarterbacks. I think we both agree the Rams have won it. Obviously, they won a Super Bowl out of it. They got the entire thing that they wanted out of it. But when you're looking at the stats of it, this is where it gets even crazier. I went on to WTF stats. All right. And since the 2021 trade, in comparison for Stafford and Goff, both have 24 wins. Both have completed 66% of their passes. Goff has 78 pass touchdowns to Stafford's 75. Both have turned the football over 41 times. Stafford has a 95.8 passer rating, and Goff has a 96.5 passer rating. This is getting real freaky right now. But the matchup though, Lions, Rams, what player besides Matthew Stafford, besides the quarterbacks, all right, what player sticks out to you the most in this one?
I'm going to go on the Rams side of things. I mean, you look at some of the young players that they had, Puka Nacua, filling in. Cooper Kupp was out for a little bit during the year, but Puka Nacua had one of the best rookie seasons that you could ask for, maybe in the history of rookies. Taken in the 5th round and just exceeded expectations tenfold. I mean, he played like a rookie of the year. I mean, if C.J. Stroud wasn't right there, probably would say Puka Nacua is one of the top guys there. I mean, he has had an incredible season, breaking all those rookie records and receptions and yards. And then Kyren Williams as well, I would probably say, is another player you got to look for. What he's been able to do with this Rams team, having almost like a Todd Gurley type season coming out of nowhere for this team. Those two players are definitely the top 2 to watch for if you're going to say outside of the quarterbacks, but Puka Nacua especially, what he's been able to do. Hopefully he's going to be able to continue it in the playoffs when you're looking at these young players. How are they going to be able to step up in big games like this?
Yeah, and you mentioned a couple minutes ago, it's like, a lot of people wrote off the Rams. They probably have, and I did that as well. But it's just the young guys really blossom into something that, we never expect, and we didn't expect them to ever do it this quickly. I mean, again, Puka, the most receiving yards by a rookie ever in his rookie season. Kyren Williams, he missed like 4 or 5 games and has 1,144 rushing yards and 12 touchdowns. He's been absolutely phenomenal this season. But what Sean McVay has done when it comes to, okay, this Rams team's in a rebuilding year or in rebuild mode, for them to come out like this, they pose a very scary matchup, especially on offense. Their defense doesn't really get talked about a whole lot because their defense is here or there. It's kind of like middle of the pack hanging around, but it's the offense. It's the fleet of ships that they have. And then Cooper Kupp playing in this game on Sunday night. I mean, how are you going to defend these two? I don't know how that's going to come down, but on the Detroit side of things, who's a player that sticks out to you though?
I mean, I want to go with the quarterback here so bad because everyone's talking about Matthew Stafford coming to Detroit, how big of a game it is for Matthew Stafford to come to Detroit. This game means way more for Jared Goff than it does for Matthew Stafford. And I'm going to put that point blank and clear. Jared Goff, you think about winners, losers of this trade, they basically shipped him off to Detroit as like an exile. They exiled him to Detroit. And he's been able to defy the expectations that were set for him and lead this team into a playoff and lead them to host a playoff against his former team. I think this means way more for Jared Goff and what they're going to be able to do. I think if they win this game or lose this game, it's going to be on Jared Goff. And it's going to be a really exciting game to see, especially on the offensive side of the ball, just because both of these teams have electric offenses.
100%. And, talking about young guys for the Rams, the Lions got a lot of young guys who have really been just, going high up there. I mean, you got Amon-Ra St. Brown, who 1,000 yards, 100+ catches. He's been an absolute, check down machine. He can, make plays down the field and everything. But Amon-Ra has really taken that step forward, and he's been such a fantastic player to watch this season. Jahmyr Gibbs, I think he had like 972 rushing yards this year as the second back behind David Montgomery, who had 1,000 yards this year and 13 touchdowns. Their 1-2 punch at running back has just been insane this year. It's a David Montgomery game. It's a Jahmyr Gibbs game. They just kind of go back and forth. But, with them having that two-headed monster at running back, it does alleviate some pressure off of Jared Goff, when he's trying to make throws down the field and play action game. But I do agree with you. I think, when it comes to the play action and everything, that it's going to come down to Jared Goff. Is he going to turn the football over? Is he going to make plays? Which one is it going to be? If he doesn't turn the football over, I think the Lions are going to win this football game. But if he's out there throwing 2-3 interceptions, then I think this game is pretty much written off, and the Rams would run away with it. But the big story right now, Sam Laporta, outside shot of playing. He's probably not going to play. Had a really it was a disgusting injury last week that he had suffered against the Vikings, but he's been fantastic this season, and really unfortunate to see Laporta get hurt in that game. What are your thoughts on Laporta?
I mean, you think about him, he's basically the second best wide receiver on that team, maybe behind Amon-Ra St. Brown. And he's such a reliable piece to that offense. And really behind him, they don't really have much at that tight end position. So it's going to put a lot more pressure on Jared Goff and a lot more pressure on the receivers too. Jameson Williams, Josh Reynolds are going to have to really step up, including Amon-Ra, to be able to fill in the void if Sam Laporta doesn't play. And the way it's looking right now, it's likely that he won't. It's going to put a lot of pressure on everybody else on the offense. I mean, you're talking about the line too. You got to fill in another tight end who's going to be really capable of blocking to protect Jared Goff, to be able to make those passes when he needs to, or protect the run game when Gibbs or Montgomery gets the ball to carry. So you think about such a pivotal piece at the tight end position and what it means across all facets of the offense and how much of an impact he has. I mean, he's such a great player. Hopefully he's able to recover. And if they make it past this round, maybe we'll get to see him in the next round. But it's definitely going to be a big loss if he's not able to play on Sunday.
Yes, Sunday. Yep. To summarize, I mean, if you guys want to see offense, this is the game for you. This is going to be awesome to see, Ben Johnson orchestrate that Lions offense, and then Sean McVay do his thing, on the Rams side. We already know about Sean McVay, like almost like Jimmy Neutron. But hey, defensively, we haven't even mentioned Aaron Donald. Like, he's playing in this game. He's probably going to take a double team or a triple team or anything like that. He's had a quieter year, though. Like, we haven't really heard a whole lot about him, I would say. But, Aaron Donald has that playoff pedigree. He beat, he got the Super Bowl, won a Super Bowl, redeemed himself from 2018, was honestly the sole reason they won that game against the Bengals, and I'm still going to hold a grudge to that. But Aaron Donald, the game wrecker on Sunday night, question mark?
I think it's a possibility. I think the issue with Aaron Donald is he's probably going to be triple teamed the entire night. I mean, you look at him, obviously such a really great player, deserves that double, triple team. But then you think about the rest of the defense, and I mean, can you even think about who's like another big name defensive lineman or another secondary? I was looking at that roster and I'm like, I don't even know who half of these people are. I haven't heard their name in college. There's no way that these guys are like first, second round picks that like you would see in a big college name that would step up and make those impacts in the NFL. which is why Aaron Donald has had a quieter season, because there's nobody else that they need to focus on except Aaron Donald. If he's able to get around those double, triple teams, he can have an amazing night, and maybe that's going to be the difference maker for this Rams team. But I'm expecting really heavy coverage on Aaron Donald.
Yeah, again, it's just, I went to the Rams Bengals game earlier this year on Monday Night Football. Other than him, I didn't really know a bunch of the guys on their defense, and I love the NFL, but it's just crazy though how they've gotten to this point, and they've just, they've really stuck together as a unit. It's interesting, and I'm excited to see this Rams defense on a bigger stage and see, will anybody step up? Who's going to make that play if it comes down to that? But obviously Aaron Donald's going to get the spotlight there. Defensively for the Lions, they had a great first 8 weeks of the season. They were 6-2. They played some great football. They, a couple injuries were suffered on their defense that, were very pivotal. Aiden Hutchinson's had a very good season. He's 10 plus sacks. On the back end, they've got some guys like Cam Sutton. Who else we got? Kirby Joseph. A lot of guys have been stepping up. Melifonu, he stepped up as well. Just a young secondary. The linebackers are who I'm looking at. You got Jack Campbell from Iowa, and then Alex Anzalone has been all around the football these last couple of weeks for the Lions. But I'll throw you another pass rusher, though. Aiden Hutchinson, the guy that probably the Jaguars should have picked number 1 overall, but stays in Michigan. Thoughts on him?
I mean, he's had a very good season, obviously caused a little bit of disruption to my Dallas Cowboys a few weeks ago. So, I have some feelings there, but he's had a really good season, and I think he's going to be that player. He's going to be more likely to be the disruptor to the Rams offense than I think Aaron Donald will be to the Detroit Lions offense. I think that just the way Detroit runs, they have more players that you need to worry about that could cause some soft coverage on Aiden Hutchinson, which will allow him to get to Jared Goff and cause some disruption whenever needed, or cause some disruption to Matthew Stafford. My apologies.
Yep.
I'm looking at the wrong chart.
It's all good.
But we'll have to see. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson he's an exciting player to watch. He's still got years ahead of him, young player, and you knew he was going to be one of those guys as soon as he stepped in the NFL that he was going to be a game wrecker, and he's proven that so far. And it's going to be interesting to see how he puts up against this Rams front, if he's going to be able to get to Matthew Stafford and cause some disruption there. I'm still expecting a high-flying game either way, but could be interesting to see. It's going to be whoever has the best defensive game, I think, will be who comes away. The offense, they're going to be able to do their thing, but which defense is going to be able to step up is the real question. Yeah.
I'm going to hand you the keys. Which team do you want, Rams or Lions, keys of success?
I'm going to go with the Rams. I think that there's just a little bit more for them coming in kind of as the underdog. I think the young guys are going to have to step up, and I think they're going to have to find something at their tight end position as well. Tyler Higbee is listed as questionable. We'll have to see what he is able to do when he comes in. And kind of like Sam Laporta, they don't really have a number 2 guy. They have Davis Allen, but not the same type of player as Tyler Higbee. So I think that's going to be a really pivotal team for them. And I'm going to talk about special teams here for a minute, because special teams do make special teams. Brett Maher specifically. Last year, everyone saw what happened in some of those Cowboys rounds of the playoffs. This is Brett Maher's revenge game, and especially one that you're expecting to be a high-flying offense, lots of touchdowns, lots of opportunities for field goals. This is Brett Maher's game to prove the doubters wrong. He doesn't have the yips anymore. He's going to be able to do it, and I think he's able to convert those kicks. This is a game that could come down to a last-second field goal. Brett Maher, for the LA Rams, he's able to step up. That's going to be something to watch.
I love the Brett Maher reference, but yeah, I mean, yeah, granted, it could come down to who has the ball last, and it's going to be interesting to see. Detroit wise, whatever they've been doing on offense, when it's run the football, play action, they got to stay on schedule. They have to stay efficient and win the line of scrimmage. If the Detroit Lions win the line of scrimmage, I think they'll win this football game. We'll do predictions in just a second. But defensively, Matt Stafford puts the ball in harm's way a little bit more often than most quarterbacks do. He's a gunslinger. He is the typical, old-fashioned gunslinger that'll put it out there, and have his players make plays. But, in this scenario, you've got some young guys on the back end that if they're able to, get a hand on it and tip it and make a play off the tip drill or, interceptions, all this stuff, then that'll obviously help Detroit out. I think it's going to come down to their back end on the secondary. I know Kyron Williams is going to be a big part of this game for the Rams when it comes to the run game, but he's also a big part in the passing game as well. You got to win the turnover battle and you got to win the line of scrimmage. And those are the two keys that Detroit, they have to stress those points. We have to win these two things and we'll win the football game. But I'll ask you, Krissy, who will win the football game?
I'm going to have the Rams by 3. It's going to be shocking to say. I think Detroit is a really good team. I think they can do a lot. I think they're going to, cause some problems on, the offensive side. They're going to score a lot of points. I think both of these teams are going to score a lot of points. But something about Sean McVay in the playoffs and how he's able to coach up his teams and what he's been able to do, I just see the Rams just slipping past the first round for the upset. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be kind of like a coin toss, but I think the Rams are going to be able to get it done. And Chase, you said it. Whoever gets down to the last possession is probably going to be the team who can come away with it. And I think the Rams are going to be able to pull it out.
Yeah, and again, I've been going back and forth about this the last couple of days. It's just I'm worried about Detroit in this regard, but then again, I'm also excited for Detroit in this regard. So it's just I'm going back and forth with it. Lions are favored by 3, over under 51.5. You said the Rams cover and they'll win by 3. Shoot, I'm going to say, I'll go Detroit. I'm going to go Detroit 31-27. I think having that home field factor where its fans have never seen a playoff game at Ford Field ever. And a lot of Lions fans, that are, born before 91 have never seen a playoff win. So this is going to be huge for them. I think they're going to show out. I think the fans are going to show out. I think the team's going to be energized and juiced. Just, don't be overwhelmed. But I think the Lions are going to handle business in a close game. And it's going to be a heck of a scene to watch on NBC. But I'm going to go Lions 31-27. Maybe part of it's hope. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah. Hey, I appreciate you coming on the show. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's going to be a really exciting weekend of football. I mean, there's a lot of great games. I know you've been previewing the AFC, and you'll talk about the game on Monday night against my rival. So we'll have to see what happens. But I think anything could happen in Wildcard weekend. So we'll have to see what happens.
Got that right. I mean, it's called Wildcard Weekend for a reason. You guys have watched this video. Like, subscribe. We appreciate it. Push to the next video. Bucks Eagles. We'll see you guys over there.